Hey everybody, it's Sam Dunn. Great to be back in the Banger Bar for Overkill reviews. It's been a while since I've been here and I'm very excited to talk about a record that I've been really digging for the last few weeks. But before I get into that, let me tell you what I've been up to. First of all, I haven't gone goth. I slammed my finger in a door just to get that out of the way. Lombardo, I hung out with Lombardo, which was amazing. Did an interview for BangerTV, which was great. I hadn't connected with him since like 2010 when we did Metal Evolution. Going back to the summer, the Dunn family went to our first metal show, all four of us, Pantera and Lamb of God at the Budweiser stage here in Toronto. What else? Lots going on. Our brand new show with Geddy Lee called Geddy Lee Asks Are Bass Players Human Too has been announced. The trailer is out there. Check it out. It launches on Paramount Plus on December 5th in the US and Canada, and December 6th in all the other countries in the world where you can get Paramount Plus. And lastly, a little nod to other stuff we've got going on at Banger TV. There's an all Metalheads week coming at the end of November, and the finale is December 1st. So be sure to check that out in a few weeks. So yeah, my review. Here's the thing. Every year it seems there's an album that I miss when it comes out. A week goes by, 2 weeks have gone by, several months have gone by, and all of a sudden I come across a record through a playlist or a friend or someone mentions it to me in passing. Well, this is yet another one of those records, and I have no idea how I managed to miss this record, but it's the brand new record from the brand new outfit, Asinhell. Is the album Impii Hora, Impii Hora, depending on your pronunciation. A brand new album from Asinhell on Metal Blade Records, which was released back on September 29. So before I get into the record itself, let me try and make sense of the kind of convoluted backstory to how this group and this album came together. Well, it's more or less the brainchild of Michael Poulsen, who many of you will know from the very popular metal rock band from Denmark called Volbeat. But he also, back in the 90s, released 4 full-length albums with a full-on death metal group called Dominus. But it's also comprised of a couple of old school metalers from Europe, including Mark Grew, who I know from Morgoth, remember Morgoth, as well as many other bands over the years, and Morten Toft Hansen, who plays in the band Raunchy. So long story short, this is an amalgam of some old school death metal Danish dudes who have known each other for a long time. And as the story goes, Michael, of course, whose roots are deep in death metal, has been batting around the idea of going back to his roots and making an old school death metal record. So here we are. Okay, so yeah, as I said at the outset, I discovered this record actually by going down one of the deep, probably was like an Apple playlist. Every once in a while when I get desperate for new stuff and I get tired of listening to the same old stuff, and I don't know, I was like dozens of tracks deep, and then this track came on and I was like, what is this? It was Asinhell. And what immediately grabbed me about the sound of this record was, admittedly, the tone, the whole vibe of the songs are a direct throwback to the extreme metal that many of us and people of my generation fell in love with back in the late 80s and early 90s. And admittedly, my first question was, is that Martin Van Drunen on vocals? It's like, is this Van Drunen's new band? And then I was like, no, it's this guy, Mark Grew. And I was like, Morgoth. I'd forgotten about Morgoth completely, who were a very kind of death-esque death metal band from Germany back in the day. And then, of course, discovered that it was Michael Poulsen's new project through Metal Blade, and on we go. But back to the tone and the vibe, that's what immediately struck me, was how much it pulled on the sounds of early Death, early Obituary, definitely a lot of Entombed in there, a little bit of Pestilence. It had an undeniable feel and atmosphere to it that threw me right back to those records. And call it nostalgia, call it just doing what death metal should do. Instantly loved it. So as I made my way through the first 3 tracks of the album, Fall of the Loyal Warrior, Inner Sancticide, Island of Dead Men, I kind of paused and I'm like, why is it that this music is impacting me so much, apart from, you know, the admitted nostalgia factor? And really what dawned on me, that I feel like what this album nails that has been lost in a lot of the extreme metal, not everything, but a lot of it, is there's this really delicate balance between simplicity and power and technicality. And for me, there's these very definable shifts in the tempo in those songs that just sort of hit the grooves at right on the nose. And I think for me, it's clear that, you know, Poulsen's learned a few things about songwriting during his time in Volbeat. And I think he's commented about that. So you've got this kind of brutality of death metal, this sort of raw feel and emotion behind the music, mixed with, you know, clearly a dude that knows how to construct a song. And just to elaborate on that for a moment, maybe the word I'm looking for here is tasteful, in the sense it seems to me that Poulsen and the other 2 dudes have spent real time carefully crafting these songs, thinking about how the rhythms and the tempos and the riffs shift from one to another. And I just think they fucking nailed that part of it. And the second, probably most important thing that I really noticed and loved about this record is Mark Grew might be the most underappreciated, under-recognized vocalist in the history of extreme metal. The vocals on this record are absolutely immense. He is like somehow channeled all of the greatness of Schuldiner, Tardy, Petrov, Van Drunen, Riefert into one. The vocals on this album are by far the biggest highlight. You have to check out the vocal delivery on this album. You will be blown away. And then lastly, why do I love it? Because it's a good album. It's not just the first 3 tunes. There's some great tracks later in the album, especially Desert of Doom. There's a late riff in there, which is just such a beautiful direct nod to kind of like symbolic era death. Crawling mile by mile, blasting, revile, face hill, fire. The album doesn't overstay its welcome. If anything, we were left wanting more, but hey, that's a good thing. Makes you want to see him live, makes you want another record, makes you want more, and makes you want to buy a t-shirt, which I already have, which didn't deliver in time for this. So overall, I gotta tell you, I've spent days ruminating on how to find something negative about this record, and I haven't. If anything, it's too short. As I just said, I wanted more. Good job, Metal Blade, for pulling this together. Good job, Asinhell, for putting this record together. I tell you, I don't know, spoiler alert, might be my album of the year. We got 2 months to go. But hey, I'm just gonna give it 5 big fucking skulls out of 5 on Overkill Reviews. But before you go, here's some shout outs. I thought I'd throw out some OG death metal records that I really felt like this Asinhell record was drawing on and referencing in all the positive ways. I mean, we can talk about Death Leprosy or Death Spiritual Healing or even Symbolic, that era of death. If you like Asinhell, you have to check out those records. Autopsy, A Severed Survival would be the choice there. An absolutely brutal record. And yeah, Obituary, Slowly We Rot is the all-time classic that definitely Gru's vocals are drawing on that tardy vocal style, like I mentioned. And while you're at it, go check out some OG Morgoth from back in the day and get a sense of where this guy, Mark Gru, who fucking nails it, where he comes from. Check it out.
The